And we are now live. It's so funny because Zoom goes first, then Facebook catches up, but you've got to catch Facebook, otherwise you get this feedback.
Yeah.
So I'm going to catch Facebook right now. There we go. I did it. First time in weeks since they set this up new. So here we are in the hot seat, and I'm so happy to introduce you, Joel, because I love the fact that you are across an ocean and we're here having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And you're on vacation, which also, is a perk of being an entrepreneur, that you can still do your stuff while you're on vacation.
Yeah.
And we're here together in the hot seat in the group, and I'm so excited that you were willing to come and be in the hot seat. So thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to come online and to talk to you today. So it's awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. And you are the first man in the hot seat.
That
So
that's big.
proud of that. Yes, I think that's amazing. Right? Women very easily are like, oh yeah, we'll come and talk, and yeah, we'll come. Men not as eager to be in the hot seat, or I guess maybe the hot seat scares them a little bit. But
That's so.
anybody who has done the hot seat knows nothing to be nervous about or worried about. I don't bite. But I'm excited because we had a bit of a chat before, and you and I are very clearly on the same wavelength. So let's
Yeah.
start out by telling people what it is that you do and the shift that you made this past year with COVID, like so many.
Yeah. I mean, I think that all of us had a kind of a rude awakening in March last year when everything happened and everything started to shut down. I know we had to pivot quite fast and start to shift how we did everything. I actually came home from the US. I landed back in Sweden on a Monday, and on Wednesday I went home to Finland on Tuesday, and on the Wednesday they shut down. They declared martial law and locked down the entire country. So I just barely made it home again. So we had to pivot. And the thing is, we sat down in January 2020, and we started to look at what we wanted to achieve over the next 3 years, because we work in 3-year kind of periods for what we want to do. And we decided that it was time for the boldest and most, the toughest goal we had yet to achieve. And that is to improve the life of 10 million people before 2024. And that is such a huge goal that it's kind of hard to even understand it. We set that goal. We could have said, like, all right, let's improve the life of 200 people. And that would have been a tough thing. But we realized that if we're going to do this, we're going to go big. So we kind of had to pivot and change what we were doing. So trying to keeping it shorter, but what we decided is if we're going to have the impact and really help or improve the life of that many people, we need to have some kind of conduit in the middle. And I have a background as an executive in sales and marketing, and I've been working with business development for over a decade now, back and forth. And I said, all right, who is the ideal person to work with that could have an impact in the next stage as well? So you get the rings on the water. And we realized that coaches is the perfect people to work with, because if we can have one coach have the impact they want to have, they're going to impact lots and lots and more people. So we work with coaches and we help them with primarily all the tech they need, but also with the sales and marketing part of it, and mostly towards the life coaches, health coaches, fitness coaches, and spiritual coaches, those people that help others directly. That's the type of people we work with.
Which is amazing, because all those kinds of coaches are making an impact with the people that they work with, and health, mindset, holistically, all those things. So I love that. It is really that ripple effect. And I never thought about it like that. And so now I even see my own business differently, thinking in that way, because, it's always my goal to help people as well. And so now that I can think, well, I'm helping people help people, that's huge, right?
And I mean,
that mentality.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we all, or most of it, at least I know I have been in the situation where you're stressed out. You need that next client to come on board. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. You have the kids and you have your partner, your wife, or your husband, and you need to get going. And it's so stressful. And I know when I started out, if someone could have come in and helped me with just getting my head around it and not stress about it and just getting some clarity on things, it would have helped me so much, meaning it would help my family in the closest ring, so to speak, and then it could just build out. Because I really think that we need to start, everything needs to start with you or me or someone else. You need to start inside of yourself somewhere and try to build from there. It just happened to become business for some reason in my life. That's where I kind of excelled, and that's where I ended up. But the desire to help has always been there. That's the driving force in my life.
Which is amazing. And you know what? All the big coaches talk about that as well. I mean, that's one of the main things Tony Robbins talks about at anything, like any event you go to. He talks about it always being about people first.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be about making maximum impact and giving value. And when we come from a place of service, a place of, wanting to help, all those other things fall into place. And it's something that I sort of connected with right away the minute I had to pivot my business and move it online. And just that mentality really resonates with me. It's always been who I am. And so you and I had discussed wanting to talk a little bit about, building rapport, and how any coach, and no matter what their niche is, should really be about building those relationships, because when your focus is that, everything else will fall into place. And rather than that, sell at any cost mentality, and we all know people come into our DMs and they make high connection. Hi, how are you? I've got this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, you don't even know who I am and if I need that. And okay. And it kind of stalls that relationship building. And one thing that really gets me is the cryptocurrency people, because they're like, do you want to invest? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are, and you're wanting me to invest money with you, and you're not building relationships with me first, but you're telling me Bitcoin is the way to go. And I even created a workshop for them to help them, because I stopped going every time I got these messages and thought, okay, how can I help these people? And they didn't see it. They didn't see it as a problem. And I'm like, well, you're spinning your wheels, and how hard are you working when you could actually build relationships and probably spend less time spinning your wheels? You just focus properly. So sorry, I just talked a lot there, but it's because I'm leading into what you and I had talked about, because you spend a good chunk of your day just talking to people.
I exactly that. And people, I talk to my friends and family, they laugh and say it's just you, because I like to talk to people. And as you said, now, before pre-COVID, so to speak, we had all these events we could go to. We could go out to the local restaurant at lunchtime, and you would bump into someone, you can have a discussion, or you could do something. But that kind of went away, so you had to find a different way. And I'm a really social person. I'm probably a huge extrovert. I know I'm a huge extrovert, so I really like to talk and connect and be. This is something I do a lot. I use my hands a lot. So I really like that connection. So when everything happened, I had to shift, because at the beginning, I was kind of stuck at home and was just waiting for something to happen. But at least in my mind, I got lonely. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I had my family and the kids, of course. But so I needed to start to talk to people. And I started to DM people, not to pitch them or sell them, but just to connect. And I kind of found a way around that worked really well, to talk and connect. Because as you said, it's not about, I offer services, right? Because there's nothing wrong with this. We have a mindset or an idea around sales that it's something ugly. A lot of people have an idea that it's ugly and that it's pushy and that it's bad. I don't see it like that at all. Of course, if you make it like a used car sales guy, you come up and you force someone, that's a bad way. But I want to talk and connect to people. So I talk with between 70 and 100 people a day over Facebook messages and on LinkedIn, and just connect and talk with people. And of course, some of them end up needing help with something I can help with. But I go always relationship first. I'm not interested in leading with selling something because, as you said, I don't even know if they need help. But if I can help in any way, shape, or form, I want to at least have that connection and have the opportunity to say, hey, I could actually help with that if you're open for it. Yeah. And some people are and some people aren't, which is fine. But it's just nice to have these connections. And what I think is wonderful, if I can just elaborate a bit more about that, is at least on Facebook Messenger, you have the possibility to send a voice message, which is awesome because I like to speak, right? And when you speak, you hear the tonality and everything. And you can actually connect in a much better way. And I really like that. So to me, it's all about just connecting, talking with people. To that point where Facebook actually told me, hey, do you actually know all these people? And I said, no, but I'm hoping to meet some of my new best friends. So that was the idea of it. Just connecting and see what goes on.
Yeah. I have met some of my best friends this past year online. I haven't even been in the same room with them yet. And I'm merging my business with one of them. Like it's kind of mind blowing that, you know, we think in a time where we got disconnected because we weren't allowed to be face to face. We thought that was going to be the end. We needed those connections, but at the same time, I've managed to connect more and better with people this year because I just had to change the way I think about making those connections. And you know, you say about leaving audio messages. I actually train my clients to do video messages. Because it's a way for people to see who you are, to get a feel of you, your energy, what you're about, because it's very hard to hide that. Be somebody you're not. And you know, I'm always about putting myself out there and being real. And it's funny because my mom gets on my case because she's like, you know, I see your videos, you know, maybe you should put on some makeup or, you know, just some lipstick and mascara. And I said, the point is I'm trying to teach people that they just need to be themselves. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be, you know, made up the way we see some of it. And she's like, yeah, but a little lipstick wouldn't hurt. But that's my mom's mentality.
But I mean, that is also, I mean, that's the way it used to be. People were expecting that. And I mean, that is also a shift that I feel has been going in a bigger line over almost a decade or maybe more, but at least during this year, that it's more about, I saw a really funny woman that she just shot a video showing she was going into a meeting. So she showed the background, how it looked where she was going to sit. And then she just did a panorama of the rest of the room because I have 7 kids, right? And she had a lot of kids as well. And it was just chaos everywhere. So much toys and clothes and dishes. And I mean, just chaos like it is in a family with lots of kids. But she had this, the background looked really nice. And I think about that right now. I mean, I have some clutter around behind the camera and we have that. It's cool. But everyone tries to show, if you look at TikTok and stuff like this, people try to show such a perfect like version of themselves. And it's so uninteresting. I want to know you. I don't want to know your like ideal or filtered version. I want to know you. That's the guy or woman or man I want to connect with and potentially work with, not the filter. So, I mean, it's just be real and connect and talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned, because if you didn't, I was going to. I can't believe you look so calm and you have 7 kids. Like anybody who has kids or even pets. I don't have kids, but I have pets. And I was a teacher, so I know what a classroom of 30 kids looks like.
Yeah.
Imagine what your house must be like with 7 kids.
And are you ready for this one then? We homeschool our kids.
Yeah, nice.
So we have 7 kids at home all the time. Try to work with that. But I mean, you can see here, it's taken its toll as well. So I usually say that every time someone asks, Dad, how can Dad, one hair goes out. That's what's going on.
Yes, I used to say that as a teacher, right? I used to say to the kids, nobody says my name. I don't want to hear my name. Because it would always be Miss Neely, Miss Neely, Miss Neely, Miss Neely, especially when I would take groups of kids on trips. would say goodbye to the last one when their parents would pick them up after a weekend with them. And I would sit in my car and just sit in silence
Yeah.
because it was the only silence I had had for those days. Um, yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what it must be like in your house. But at the same time, you're teaching your kids about the ability to be yourself,
Yeah.
to run a business, even
Yeah.
with all the chaos at home,
Yeah.
homeschool your kids and do all that. So really what you're showing people is they don't have an excuse for not.
No, and I mean that's I don't usually point it out like that, but you have a point with that. And also what we realized is that by letting our kids be part of our life, right now they're not here because they're out grocery shopping, but by letting them be part of everything we do, they learn how life could be as an adult and how we work and how we operate. And life isn't, our oldest one, she turns 19 later this year, and she went to school for most of her school time, so to speak. But I mean, she got into habits that when you look at it, and I did as well, when you go back out, when you go come out of school and you go out into society, it's not the reality. You were just taught to work in a certain way, and there's benefits to that, and there's benefits to actually being part of, because what we're doing now, this is, we're talking and I'm having a cup of coffee. It's not the end of the world like that, but we are basically on a business meeting, and the kids see this, and it's just part of life.
Yeah.
And what it is also is a really good indicator. If I'm in a meeting with someone, a potential client for say, and my kids come and they kind of feel uncomfortable with that, or they get stressed by that, or they feel, you feel the energy, that is a good indicator for me that they might not be a good fit, because my kids can come in at any time, and that's the way it is. I'm not saying that if we're not in a deep discussion and we need to have privacy, of course we're going to have that, but the kids are the biggest thing in my life. It's the most important thing in my life, meaning that if I'm in a meeting and I see someone get hurt outside, I'm going to say, sorry, I need to go deal with that. And that's always going to be the priority. And that's how it is. So I mean, it's also a good indicator for potential clients to see if they're okay with us having it like that, because it's not the typical corporate way of doing it, right? So
right. But you make a really valid point too, and this is what the joy of being an entrepreneur is you don't have to work with everybody.
No.
You can make those decisions. There are people that may not be the right fit for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You get to make that choice. And we also tend to attract what we put out. So, and this is why I encourage people to do videos as much as possible, because your ideal clients will find you in those videos because they connect to something about who you are in whatever it is that you're presenting. And you know, so you're right, like if you're having a meeting and they get uncomfortable because your kids are around, or I make no excuses. I have a dog who's very vocal.
Yeah.
Have, the voice specialist who has a dog who tells me off on a daily basis. And that's just the way it is. And now, I work from home. He's here. He doesn't like that he doesn't get all of my attention. And you know what, if somebody can't deal with that, then maybe they're not for me.
And I mean, that is fine, because when we as entrepreneurs or business people, or however you wanna label yourself in this, it's, for me, it's really about freedom. It's about the ability to choose how I do things, when I do them, and everything around that. As you said, we don't have to accept everyone, and I think it's really important not to do that. Because when I talk to people, it's from a perspective, if I can help you, that's the first thing, but it's also, would I enjoy working together with you? Because I'm going to invest a lot of my time and my energy into the people I work with. And if we're not a good fit, if we don't connect, it could be just so small things that we don't even know why. I want to spend my days with the people I really love to be with and hang out with, and it's so important. But when you start out, sometimes people are afraid to do that because you think you need to enroll everyone or you need to get everyone into your business. But I think that is one of the biggest mistakes. As soon as you have enough like confidence to say no to someone, you end up in a much stronger position to actually be able to enroll the right people, and that's going to snowball on you. So it's so important to have standards for yourself, who you work with and who you don't work with. And I don't know about you, but I turn down people every single week because for one reason or another. And of course, people turn me down as well, and that's fine. You need to find those perfect ones that you connect with. And even if you, I mean, we do about the same type of things from my point of view, different, but about the same type of things.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're competitors, because you're going to attract completely different people to your business, and I'm going to attract completely different people to my business. And that's the beauty of the modern world. We don't have to compete with anyone. We just have to be real, connect, and talk to people. And the ones who like to work with you are going to work with you. And that's like the way it is. But you just have to be comfortable with that and kind of trust the process that's going to happen, and it will happen.
Absolutely, 100%, right? It's that abundance mindset,
Yeah.
which eliminates that competitor mentality and brings in that there is enough out there that we will find those people that are right for us and right for what it is we're doing and putting out into the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I had a conversation with a teacher that I used to work with, and she's now doing her own entrepreneurial thing as well.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation about, you know, she works with kids now just more one-on-one in small groups, and she's like, I love that I can say no.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas when we were in the school, we had no choice. We had to work with the kids that were there, and we had to work with the parents. And sometimes that could be, you know, a job in itself, is just dealing with certain parents. And, you know, it's funny because, I mean, we loved being a teacher, but now we get to choose how we make an impact, how we do the things that we do and help the kids, and all the things that we do within our business structures. And we're not confined by the education system, what the government says we have to do, all this red tape, political blah.
Yeah.
And we love the freedom in being able to make an impact the way we've always wanted to as a teacher. And I think maybe that's why some teachers veer into coaching, because you have more power in being able to be you.
Yeah. And I mean, I love coaching in Sweden, where I'm from, and in Finland, where I used to live. Coaching is kind of unknown. No one talks about coaching here. Hardly anyone does. We talk about consultants. If you have a problem or you have something you need fixed, you find a consultant that fixes it for you. And then you deal with everything yourself, kind of that way. So it was kind of interesting to see when coaching kind of popped up into my head like 4 or 5 years ago, that was something you could work with. And it just resonated so much with me, because the fundamental idea of working with a coaching mindset, it's so much more fun, at least to me it is, than this consulting. Sometimes you need to consult as well, but just this dynamic that happens when you work with coaching, it's so completely different, and you see people grow. I really love this. And I enjoyed teaching from the beginning, because that's where I came from teaching people. But that is so static, because you can only teach them something. And coaching, you kind of have to shift their own ideas, and they have to think themselves. And I think that is the beauty of it. The biggest problem, though, is to keep your mouth shut. At least for me, that's the biggest problem.
Well, they have a journey that they need to go on, and the point is that you're there to hold their hand, to show them what to do, to, you know, walk them through. But it's important that people implement. You can teach until you're blue in the face. If they're not implementing, then they're not making progress. So when you're able to inspire them to implement, to make those changes, and to sort of come up with those ideas themselves. You can guide them, but really it's a celebration when they start taking the reins and they start finding ways to do things themselves.
And it's also one of the most beautiful moments, I think, in a client coaching journey, is when they get to the point where they say, thank you, but I'm going to spread my wings and fly now.
Yeah.
I get goosebumps.
Yes.
I think it's an amazing thing when they say thank you and kind of leave the nest, because that's how, in my mind, that's how I picture it. They leave the nest on this cliffside and fly themselves. And I think that there's so much beauty in this, other than, because when I was on the consulting part of this, you just did something and the clients, they didn't change anything. There was just something new in their business. But now they actually go on this journey and then they just take off. And I think it's amazing. And it gives me so much more pleasure and fulfillment in my life to be part of that, rather than to just fix a problem for someone.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I use that analogy as well. And I say to my clients, you're like a little bird in a nest. I'm the mama bird. I'm showing you how to survive and what to do. And then I push you out of the nest and I watch you fly. And, you know, I'm getting to the end of a 12-week program that I'm doing, and I'm seeing them starting to spread their wings, and they're starting to do that. But they're also relying on each other, not just me. And, you know, there's things, momentum has started to happen, and things, they're being recognized for what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's exciting for me because now I know I've created, like I did the foundation, I got them set up in what they needed to know and how to do it. Now I sit back and I watch.
Yeah.
I come in when they need me, and I support when they ask, but now I get to sit back and watch it all come together.
Yeah. And to me, that is so beautiful. I think that is probably the best thing about working with people and working with people from a coaching mindset. It doesn't matter what field you're in or what type of coaching you do. To me, it's that should be the end goal, rather than looking at it from, as some sales trainers say, you have to have another product by the end of it. But I think the end of the product is to have someone fly away, so to speak, because they can always cycle back and come back, and they can land in the nest again, and we can work together. So you don't have to do that. Just help people, just serve people, just provide value to people. Just do that, and everything else will fall in place exactly the way it's supposed to do.
Yes.
So, and I'm quite spiritual, so I literally have that idea. I used to say that every snowflake lands where it's supposed to. Don't even worry about it. Things that happen that you feel is really bad for you, it's fine. It's supposed to happen. So don't worry. Just be and work towards your goals every day. I'm not saying just sit down and let everything happen. That's never going to happen. But don't worry about everything. Just focus on where you're going and serve and help and support. Just do that, and everything else will fall into place.
Yes, you are always exactly where you are meant to be.
Yeah. And I mean, we could look at this different ways, but that's the way I look at it. And
I do as well.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes when I get frustrated, or, you know, I'm like, oh, why isn't this working? I sit back and go, okay, what am I meant to learn from this? Because I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and there's a lesson in here for me to learn.
Yeah.
What shift do I need to make? Or maybe this is something in me that I'm struggling with, or I'm putting up barriers, or, you know, there's so many things that can come into play. And it's about being consistent, and it's about showing up, and it's about building relationships and moving forward always.
Something that I've been thinking about quite a lot over the last maybe 2 to 3 months, because there's been so much going on in our life, meaning that there's so many distractions from the outside, that the kind of reliability or the knowing that everything is going to be the way it's supposed to is kind of it gets disturbed when everything happens, and there's a lot. And I had trouble because I tend to meditate, or I meditate almost every single day. I usually start my day by meditating. But I realized something over the last couple of months here, and I think a lot of people can relate to this if you just think about it. we have our phones, right? And I have mine right over there, right? But you have your phone always. And people tend to get the phone out. I do. I know I do every day. And I look at something. I scroll on Facebook, or I look on YouTube, or I do something else. And what I realized is what I'm doing in that moment is that I'm just distracting myself from what I really need to do. And that came to me. It's obvious probably to everyone else, except it wasn't for me, that was what I was doing. I was just keeping myself occupied with something else to just get my mind off it. But realizing that that's what it is, I can refocus and actually get really sharp and just get going on what I need to do again. There's nothing wrong with just scrolling on Facebook or YouTube, but you can get so caught up in it and tend to forget what's actually in here, or in the back of your head, or inside you, and where you're actually going. It's just taking the focus away.
Yeah.
And that wasn't obvious to me before, but it's been over the last 2 or 3 months, it's been really obvious to me that that's the case. And I just wanted to get that out there. Probably everyone knows already, but it was a realization for me at least.
You know what? I think it is a good message to put out there, because we often procrastinate, or we know we have something we have to do, and sometimes I have to go, okay, why am I avoiding that? Why am I getting up and would rather do the dishes than sit down and edit that chapter? Or and I have to go, okay, you know what? That is not something I love to do. So what do I need to do to get it done? It's the best way for me to do that. And so sometimes we have to look a little deeper within, like, what is holding me back from launching this, or what is holding me back from actually getting something done? And sometimes it means hiring somebody else to do it, because it's just not something you feel strong about. Or sometimes it's something deep within that you need to deal with so that it doesn't become a problem anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, one of my favorite authors, I read this book several years back. It's T. Harv Eker, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. I think if you haven't read it, read it right now. He says, in order to actually grow as a human being, you need to be comfortable being outside your comfort zone.
Yes.
And to me, that is exactly what you just said. I like to go do the dishes instead. I know I need to do something, but I just find a reason not to do because of something else. And it's often because, at least in my life, I can only talk for myself, but in my life, it's because I'm afraid that if I do that, what could happen? Or if I do that, it's something, often it's fear, at least in my case, holding me back. So I try to do something else. I find something else to keep myself occupied. And just stopping in that moment and realizing this is so important. And especially today, and especially when you start out as an entrepreneur and you build your business, because if you don't work on your business every single day, and I don't mean just Monday to Friday in the beginning, I mean every single day. I'm not saying spend 12, 15 hours a day, but do something, at least in your mind, every single day to get it going. Because if you don't, it's somewhere along the line, it's going to be tough. So we need to find all of these shortcuts that we can take to just make things as easy and as fast as possible.
Yes. It sort of becomes like that mentality of getting healthier, or changing your eating habits, or something. It's not a diet, it's a way of life, and you've got to being an entrepreneur as that as well, right? Not just it's not a job, it's not what you would consider your 9 to 5. It's a journey. It really is. And you've got to think of it all the time.
Yeah.
And whether that means picking up a book and reading and educating yourself, filling yourself with the right stuff, connecting with the right people, all those things, that's all part of growing your business. And I always say it too, consistency is key.
Yep.
Keep showing up, because you never know who's watching.
Yeah, exactly that. And I mean, that is also why I connect with people as I do, because just imagine if I were to sit here with everything I can help people with, everything I can do, all of my experience, all the knowledge I have, if I don't talk to anyone except running some Facebook ads or doing something like that, like the gurus tell us to do, right? If I only do that, how am I moving the needle? I'm not moving the needle at all. If I don't have enough money to be successfully be running ads, I need to spend the time doing something else, or I need to find ways to do it. And just connecting with people, as I said, it doesn't matter if you don't think it's a potential client. Connect, because you never know what's going to come from that discussion. That's why we're here today. I connected with you a few months back. We had a nice discussion, and here we are right now. And let's see where we are in a year and see what happened by that point. But just moving the needle every day, just do something. It's not about the big thing. It's about constantly making small changes and small things every single day. So consistency, as you say, it's so important.
Yeah, it's all about the connections, right? And and this is why I've said I love doing the hot seat, because I get to know people better, right? I get to have these conversations. And so, I've met somebody who's helped me deal with some deep-seated childhood trauma issues. And I met somebody who's helping me put a funnel together, and right. And so I'm making these connections. We're having these conversations. There's collaborations happening, right? Yeah. And I also get to know people better, so that if I meet somebody who needs what you do, I can honestly say, you know what, Joel is awesome. You should give him a shout, have a chat with him. Yeah. And if he can't help you, he can at least guide you in the right direction. Yeah. And so this is what making connections means. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to work together. They're going to be a client. But the number of times people tag me on Facebook because they know me as, the voice coach or whatever, and they'll tag me because somebody has asked a question and they've thought, hey, Diva can help you. Yeah. That's huge.
It is. And I mean, that is also, if you look at it from a sales perspective, I usually say that referrals is the best way of getting new clients. So, I mean, you don't have to have a client to get a referral. You just have to have a connection with someone to get that referral. Yes. That's at least in my mind. And as I said, and I think something that was important to me when it comes to enrollment and building businesses is you don't have to get paid for everything in money.
Yes.
You can do something for someone without getting paid with money. Yes. But I never do anything for anyone without getting paid. And what I mean with that is you don't have to pay me in cash, but you could pay me in thinking about me when you meet someone 3 months from now that could benefit from working with me. So you could refer someone, or you could say something nice about me to your friends at dinner next week. That is also a way of getting paid. And to me, money isn't everything, but if people say that money isn't important to them, they're going to struggle financially. Money is really important to everyone. And I don't like the idea of money being the source of evil or being greedy or stuff like that. Money is just as natural as air or as love. I have 7 kids, as I said. Does that mean I have too many kids, or does it mean I have too much money? If I have that much money, it's just money. But we have to pay each other one way or another, and it doesn't have to be cash. Do things for people, because it's going to help you and it's going to help them. So always provide value again, and just serve and help people.
Absolutely. It's all about an exchange of energy, right? Which is why doing the hot seat is great. 1, because I get to know people better. 2, the group gets to know each other better. And I get the opportunity to promote your business. And so it's a way for me to give back as well, because, it's not just in this group. I post it on my Facebook page later. I post the video on YouTube with all your links, so that people who stumble on the video, or who watch all the videos, they have everybody's contact information, because you see their person. So this is my opportunity to be able to pay you, as you say, in promoting you and what you do. And it's about, again, showing everybody who you are, what you do, and building those relationships.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I think it's, I just forgot one type of payment. That is also thank you. That is also a type of payment. So it's not just about services or favors back and forth or money. Thank you is also a way of paying someone. If I want to help you, that means that I want to do something for you. And a good way of returning that is saying thanks. And an even better way of returning that is to actually go ahead and use whatever we talked about and go after what you really want to do. That is also payment. So that is at least my view at it, and I just forgot that little piece of.
I love that. You know what? It's a great way to end too, because I can honestly say that, you know, I look at everything from a place of gratitude, and I'm so grateful that we connected those months ago. So grateful that it led us here, and I look forward, and I'm grateful for whatever this new connection has, what will come from it, and what will happen in future, because like I said, everything happens for a reason. And so, you know, I'm so grateful that you were willing to to be in the hot seat, to be the first man in the hot seat. And it's such a great message to everybody when we can show them the value of building relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And it's my pleasure to be in the hot seat today. It's been a fantastic conversation, and I hope more men show up, because what it is, and we said that already, it's you and I connecting, having a cup of coffee, talking. And if someone is watching this somewhere, anywhere, nice to meet you and hope you had a good time. But it's just nice. It's nice connecting again with people.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and good luck with having kids. You and I need to talk. I've got some summer programs for kids that I'm really excited about. And you have 7 who you're going to have, you know, for the whole summer.
So summer program sounds awesome. Let's get them doing something fun.
Go cat. Okay. Oh, there's my dog. See, he knows. He knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joel. And we'll be in touch soon.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay.